Alrighty, it is finally time for the summary on Ghost of Yotei. We're gonna talk about the main story, mainly with the chase for the Yotei Six by Atsu and her close companions, her amigos, her family, technically, and all that stuff. Side missions and bounties won't really be covered like that during this summary. If you missed the Let's Play that I did on Ghost of Yotei, go check that out. The playlist will be available. But without further ado, let's get into the summary, and we're gonna start with the protagonist.
No.
The story of revenge begins right out of the gate. You'll access the map of Ezo following the fight and story explanation. The game starts with Atsu facing the Yotei Six and a flashback during the burning tree murder. All 6 members are wondering what to do with this little girl, and Lord Saito decides to blade her against a tree and leaves her. Hashtag noob move, hashtag Navi hobby. And it's a Navi hobby because it's just too obvi. If you're wondering what the heck Navi is, it's novice. It's the thing I came up with. But anyway, following this, the game then introduces you to the members of the Yotei Six just to give the player a little introduction as to who you're going to be dealing with. The Snake, the Kitsune, the Oni, the Saito brothers, and Lord Saito. Now following this, you then go into modern times as Atsu returns to the area for the first time in about 15-ish years and handles drunk noobs that are messing with a tall white horse, which we would end up naming Mystery. We would then proceed and we would find our first victim, a fragile and much older version of the Snake. The Snake was drunk during this fight, just like the rest of the people or the Saito soldiers that were around him at that point in time. The fight would then lead to a tussle, where the Snake would wound Atsu before Atsu would fight back and obliterate him. Atsu would die during this and would come back to life and would begin her journey on hunting down the now 5 remaining members of the Yotei Six. The next part of our journey would begin with a beautiful overlook onto the horizon of Ezo, with Mount Yotei being the focal point, which is based off of Mount Yotei in real life in Japan. And it's also likely that the land of Ezo in this game is named after Mount Yotei, which is nicknamed Yezo Fuji because of its similarity to Mount Fuji. After the overlook, we end up back where it all began, home. Revisiting Atsu's childhood home in some way was similar to how GTA San Andreas began. That's my favorite game of all time. It's the favorite game of all time for me, so much that it is in my channel banner on this channel. Like I love that game, man. Did that sound like gay? That sounded like gay, man. That sounded like gay, man. I love that game, man. Okay, calm down. Now in San Andreas, if you've never played it, which, come on, that game came out like nearly 22-ish years ago. In the beginning of that game, Carl would fly back home to San Andreas from Liberty City after the news of his mom passing. Obviously, we know how that happened with Big Smoke and Ryder and all that other stuff. And everything would just feel empty during that. Flashbacks of everything that once was. The same would happen here with Atsu, as most of the time here is flashbacks to give the player an idea of what once was. Here, we end up seeing the parents for the first of a few more times at their home. Kengo, a former swordsman, who abandoned Clan Saito after the Battle of Nagashino, and Yone, a hell of a shamisen player and storyteller, also very knowledgeable about plants. I will say I wish we would have had more about the disagreement between Saito and Kengo, but clearly he probably was just tired of that kind of life of just running the place like they're the government or something like that, so he was just like, I'm out of here, bruh. We also see Jubei, Atsu's admirable and confident brother, during duel practice in the yard at home. However, this wouldn't be the last time we'd see Jubei. Now following the flashback, you then touch down at the old inn, after saving folks in that area from Clan Saito soldiers, which they're gonna be everywhere until the story ends. Like, I'm not kidding. You then get introduced to some important characters, such as Ron the Bowyer, responsible for bows and bow upgrades, and Isaburo, the cartographer, who will be responsible for providing traveler's maps for Atsu to discover additional things across Ezo. The next thing that I ended up running into would be the Way of Dual Katana. This is one of many important side missions that pretty much need to be completed in order to advance the story. It's also vital because you earn, in my fair opinion, one of the most important weapon kits in the game, the Dual Katana, doubling it up to slice up noobs and navis because it's just too obvious. To begin this, you meet Hanbei, a friend of Kengo, or a former friend because Kengo got murdered, and very quietly kept on top of Mount Yotei in the Clan Saito times of Ezo. Now upon meeting Hanbei, you can instantly see that he has an arm missing. This was due to a battle that he had with Lord Saito. During the time with Hanbei, we found out how Saito found Atsu's family during a flashback. And in that instance, Atsu and Jubei were out looking for mushrooms, and Saito would spot them after spotting a wolf nearby. The rest would be history.
If you want my head, take it.
Pause.
Bro, come on now, dawg.
Following this, you train to strengthen your left arm by slicing bamboo and other items, and then fight invaders, which, how did they get up there? I should say, obviously you have to climb Mount Yotei to get to Hanbei. We fell for a lot of traps. We fell for a lot of traps. I don't see how those dudes got up there unless he did that on purpose, which I don't think he would do that.
Convince him to teach me his Dual Katana technique.
What the hell happened? Whoa!
Walked right into that one.
Also, it should be noted that there are certain people that Atsu will hang around with. They're gonna have bounties on their heads in Ezo, and Hanbei was one of many that Atsu would interact with. The next thing we ended up doing was chasing after Lord Saito to fight him for the first of only one other time that we would do so. We find him after killing many Clan Saito soldiers, but he ends up escaping, which means we have to continue the journey. Next up was another important side mission for the key tactical weapons in the game, the Way of the Kusarigama. Now this would begin with spotting a new character named Master Inomoto, who was trying to avoid the Nine Tails while getting back to his turf. We helped him, and we eventually come to an agreement to learn his teachings of the Kusarigama. Now it should be noted that with the Nine Tails, that they do appear once you appear in that general region, even before you fight the Kitsune. So that's just how that went for me. It might be the same for you. It probably was. Not for revenge, but for self-defense with the Kusarigama point. This was Atsu early in the game too, so she kind of wanted it for both revenge and for protection in a way. It's kind of like how they say, how they describe self-defense or karate in SpongeBob, where they say you don't use it to hurt people, you use it to defend yourself, which is true for a lot of things in life. Grappling, swinging, and striking were all worth it for one of the most versatile weapons in the game. To complete the passage of this, you would have to fight in certain areas against Nine-Tails soldiers, or maybe Clan Saito. With the Kusarigama, usually it was a lot of Nine-Tails specifically. We would come back once we'd upgrade the Kusarigama to collect Master Inomoto's Kusarigama to signify that we mastered the weapon, which I will say I thought that was really cool in the story. The story of the Kitsune was after this, in the main story, and it's probably the best one of the Yotei Six chase if you love storytelling. We worked our way to the snowy and frigid area of Teshio Ridge. At that point, we would meet travelers of Teshio Ridge to seek information about the Kitsune, the most versatile and youngest member of the Yotei Six, backed by their group/clan, the Nine Tails. We end up fighting Nine Tail members on our path, and the travelers got cooked. But then we would step in and we would defeat the Nine Tails. After defeating them, Mystery, our horse, of course, that was the name we named the horse, Mystery and Atsu sit by the campfire and sing our campfire song, our CAMPFI. Yeah, shut up and dribble. I know, it's okay. Just shut up and dribble, it's okay. It is Black History Month, by the way, which shout out, but that's okay. It's okay. You can say what you want. And ease up before discovering the Red Crane Inn. The inns in this game are designed as rest spots and typically vary for entertainment. Here we have sake, a zeni hajiki table, which is gambling. Sake also is alcohol in this game. It can vary based on the ratio to whatever is in the bottle. And a really good shamisen player named Lady Oyuki. What first started as a random interaction ended up being an essential protagonist in Atsu's journey. The story was all over the place too, as we eventually found out that Lady Oyuki was the previous identity of the Kitsune, and that her grandson Dojun was the current person abaft the mask. I will say as well, the Kitsune mask is probably my favorite of all of the Yotei Six members. It looked clean as a whistle once we beat Dojun. You'll see it in the footage in the video, but it is definitely my favorite mask of the members. Dojun joined initially as a member of the Nine Tails, before eventually getting the Kitsune role. He would join them following the murder of a close family member, which I believe it was his mother. I want to say it was his mom. I'll leave the correct info up if that's incorrect. After that event, which happened to him at a young age, he was raised partially by Lady Oyuki. Obviously, partially because he also had the quote-unquote street life going on with the Nine Tails. But he grew to be very explorative and ungovernable, which led to the path that he was on. During this venture, we end up discovering the Kitsune Quest Guide, a very important thing to have during this event, which I will say I'll bring it on too, but I really do wish we would have had a diminutive version of the little guide for the Kitsune Quest. Having a physical version would have been really cool, but we'll talk about that when the video is over. From Lady Oyuki, we learned a whole lot about what happened that night. We learned that she was the one that initially let Atsu run away at least, during the family murder via the hands of the Yotei Six. This was during the scene in which Yone was hanging from a tree. Obviously, I couldn't show that. I had to put I had to put that one meme of I forgot his name. It's Eric, I believe, on Twitter, that does a lot of Clippers drawings and San Jose Sharks drawings. I had to put his picture of Chuck the Condor with James Harden. Just let me go, James. I couldn't show Yone getting hung like that. After that, she was exiled from the Yotei Six, and they also listed the reason really as her being a female. They used that as a reason, etc, etc. This didn't come without envy though, as Atsu did want to kill Lady Oyuki, but she reminded Atsu that she was vital for the journey, and that proved to be very true. Just as a cool bonus as well, we also learned the skill to be able to spot people while they were in hiding from Lady Oyuki during our little battle that we would have with her. The fight against the Kitsune would begin after venturing through many puzzles and roadblocks versus the Nine Tails. This will probably be the hardest roadblock to break down, mentally speaking at least. I know it was for me. It'll just feel like a never-ending Rubik's Cube. Once you go through all of that, you end up fighting Dojun, again, do the Kusarigama mission. I don't think you have a choice, but if you do have a choice, you need to do that before you try this. Otherwise, you're gonna get your ass kicked. You go through one fight against him, and then Lady Oyuki helps in a second one, despite the family heritage.
Like, it's a good thing, man, that they gone, bro. Like, they was down here just taking people, bro, for no reason, bro.
Next up, it was time to add more butter. Wrong thing. It was time to add more weapons to our wheel. And this time we hooped with Ina the Bomb Maker. After touching down in Ishikari Plain, we got our hands on the Scorch Bomb, after helping Ina fight off Oni Raiders, which will be the soldiers for the next Yotei Six member that we're gonna have to deal with, which is the Oni. Continuing the Ishikari Plain adventure, the first impression that was given off was that it was a pretty large and pretty restricted area. It also had a large door. Funnily enough, we needed a card to enter Ishikari Plain. We fell for a fake. Next time Lord. I went to Dropkick Buddy that gave us that fake card, but we got lucky. We got lucky and we got in somehow. The guards would then get one of their prominents, dubbed Lord Kitamori, somewhat sharing some pretty familiar traits to someone Atsu once knew. After setting up shop and camping for a bit, Lord Kitamori instantly recognizes Atsu's blade, and the biggest shocker and likely most important moment in the game happens. It's Jubei. Ironically, we rarely saw Jubei in any of the flashbacks, so this made a lot of sense. After 15 to 16 years apart, the bloodline is back. Yay! After the Burning Tree incident, Clan Matsumai soldiers would actually discover Jubei and would take him in, and he would become family for them and for him. It was pretty cool, but also this was after the Burning Tree incident, so yeah, it's kind of insane to think about. With Jubei's traits of loyalty and being admirable, he would eventually earn the high honor of a lord in Clan Matsumai. Once they convo it up, Atsu reveals what's been going on in her life, or with her at least, since they last saw each other, and embarked on her journey to get revenge for their parents. Now initially, Jubei was cagey about the idea, but he would agree to help Atsu because of his traits, which would of course come with good and bad, because again, this was Atsu, a little bit of selfishness, wanting to get revenge, just the main thing. This was pre-character development Atsu, so there was a lot of good and a lot of bad. Working with somebody that you haven't really talked to in about 15 years. One thing that Jubei also asked that would be important for Atsu's character development would be if she knew what was next beyond the actual revenge chase that she was on. Atsu wouldn't know that at the time, or didn't know the answer at the time, but eventually it proved to be an important thing by the game's ending. Upon meeting the rest of Clan Matsumai, most of them were meh towards Atsu. Now, however, the main leader, Commander Wada, instantly knew who she was, and he did not want to be involved with her hanging around Clan Matsumai. This would eventually change and grow once we made it near the end of the game. The chase for the Oni in regards to difficulty wasn't hard, although I had the game on medium. Take that with a grain of seasoning. Forget the salt. Just another mental mind block of so many soldiers. I'm going to have to do that in Cliff. And what was Buddy name from Between the Lines? Cliffhanger? We're going to do that in his voice. The so many soldiers. So cue that in right now, Rich.
Thanks, fellas.
That's not father! And that's why he's called Cliffhanger.
Too many Oni Raider soldiers. To add on to that, the fight against the Oni soldiers was a little bit more Herculean due to the build of the Oni Raiders. Most of them are very voluminous and eat more hits than the other Yotei Six soldiers you'll see in the game. During the chase for the Oni, we actually got to interact with the Oni himself, much older, but also wearing a large chunk of armor just like his soldiers. The red, white, black, and light touch of gray stood out like the blood of combat in Ezo. The plan initially began after the Bizarro Mad Goro, that dude was insane, would steal the Oni's musket, which he actually peed on a mask? Hashtag kooky. And I don't mean cookie. Now, yeah, I love cookies.
Like, yeah, I love cookies.
No, not that kooky. Kooky as in crazy. That dude was nuts, and he had bad hygiene. Something was wrong with Mad Goro. Something was wrong with him, bruh. We would negotiate with Mad Goro, and we would use that musket theft as a key to infiltrate the Oni's operation. After returning the musket, the Oni invites us into his dojo, which is typically off limits for others, and would give Atsu a reward choice, weapon or coin. Now during this, Atsu would spot a weapon that was used during the Burning Tree murder and chooses it.
I don't even remember where I got it.
Which is obviously a lie from the Oni, that's what he said. Sure, buddy. Nonetheless, we work our way through, once again, a journey across an area, Ishikari Plain, to get to the Ishikari Castle and 1v1 the Oni. Now when you fight the Oni, round 1 of 2 begins inside the dojo, and round 2 would begin outside of the dojo. In regards to the background during the Yotei Six battles, if you like flames with fire, you'll love it while I was fighting. I also will say the Kitsune, the Kitsune background during that battle was also really nice. I guess because I like the navy blue black, well, really blackish nighttime view. The Kitsune battle, that background was nice, I will say that. Stop freaking yapping. The Oni's go-to during combat consisted of a fiery katana, and luckily we also had that one, which we got from Ina, as a key little thing to add to our repertoire. Following the victory, Jubei would join his sister, and they would chop off the Oni's head, hashtag ISIS style. With another fallen Yotei Six member and army, comes the next one. With the last 3 members of the Yotei Six, we have a bloodline to deal with, and that would be the Saito family. Beginning with the Saito brothers, they consist of the dragon and the spider. They rarely leave each other's side, so this was a chase that was basically a you won't have one without the other situation. Before starting any of that, we do another side mission that would be imperative for the story. Starting in Tokachi Range, you head up to Horosaru Falls to meet Master Yoshida, a very confident person similar to Jubei in a way. With Master Yoshida, we learn how to master the Odachi, a heavy weapon that knocks sense into most of the hefty characters we would encounter throughout the remainder of the game. Following this, it was time to revisit home. It was Jubei's first time back following the burning tree incident. He had trauma and hadn't been back since, which makes a lot of sense. We clutched it up in Zeni Hajiki, and then a character appears, Lady Oyuki. Now at this point in the story, Lady Oyuki became a close friend to Atsu, but Jubei was not aware of her and her Kitsune days, which obviously he was bamboozled by once he actually found out, which I was also, because it was like, damn, cuz, you were here, but now you're just in these grounds where you probably were at one point? Yeah, it's insane. This would add some difficulties for a little while between the three, until another character would come along, which would lead us to Kiku. Kiku is the daughter of Jubei, which we could have had a lot more storytelling about, but we'll save that for later. Mainly, like, we didn't hear about where her mom was. We never heard about Jubei's wife, what happened to her. Save it for later, And we would discover her via rescue from the Saito soldiers. She has elements very similar to Jubei and Atsu. For Atsu, this would go on to be another important factor to her character development throughout the rest of the game. Taking the quest to the Oshima coast, which is my personal favorite area in Ezo, the Saito brothers' chase involved many, and I mean many amounts of Clan Saito soldiers. It was a literal army that we had to fight through to chase these guys down. They also had guns. Yeah! The first one you would fight against would be the Spider. We'll mention it later, but there could have been a whole lot more storytelling for many aspects in the story for the Saito family. You would venture through trials and tribulations against Clan Saito soldiers, and eventually get your hands on the Spider, who is deemed the weaker of the two brothers. This is mainly due to having nothing much else human connection wise outside of his brother and the sake jar. Again, we don't know why Saito hates his kid. We don't know why. We don't know what happened. After beating him,
You what?
major pause. Yo, come on. It was time to hold the Spider hostage in a prison cell to try to learn his brother and execute him after a waiting period. The plan to lure in the dragon did work, but Clan Saito was already prepared. During the ambush on the coastline, Atsu chooses to battle over helping Jubei and Oyuki find Kiku in the battle turf, and ultimately gets the kill, crossing name number 4 off the sash. It should be mentioned as well with the choice Atsu made, it was pretty selfish, which, I mean, Atsu wasn't going to let the dragon walk off. We know how she was in the story. But it actually proved to be very smart because of what we're going to talk about in a little bit. Lord Saito would save the Spider and once again hate him for random reasons.
I'll avenge him, I swear. I'll find the Onryo.
She would kill you where you stand.
Which is all you deserve.
Jeez, what an awful father. Why would you say
Lay
something
your
like
brother
that?
to rest. Do that much for him.
Jesus.
Then drink yourself to death for all I care.
Wow. He really is Donald Trump. And Jubei and Oyuki would go missing, which they got abducted by Clan Saito. So Atsu made a selfish but a wise choice to try to fight the dragon. And she did kill him, but hey. Following the ambush, we would find Kiku at one of the safe spots in the Oshima coast, and we would make our way back to the childhood home. Most people would not go near it because there was a belief those grounds were cursed. We chopped it up with Kiku, which means we talked, and we eventually found the Spider after talking with Hanbei for uplifting and some advice. We would find the Spider near the grave of his brother and his sister, which we had just found out about in that time period, and had a pretty meaningful moment in the game with storytelling. After that, we chased them down and fought. In another crucial moment, the Spider came to an agreement that he would lead the way for Atsu to find Lord Saito and end him. Making our way to the Koga Fortress, which is where Lord Saito mainly had his home, we finally begin the hunt of all hunts. We fight through many Saito soldiers to get our hands on Lord Saito, and, well, actually, he's not there. He's at the childhood home with Kiku. He would tell storytelling about how he thought his kids would outlive him, which one of the three would do so. That's the spider. He doesn't really give a crap about him, and gives Kiku back to Jubei and Oyuki under the circumstances that he, Lord Saito, and Atsu could fight alone under the tree. Also, for another crucial moment in character development, Atsu would burn the sash of names. That talk with the spider really seemed to change her perspective on her journey. Atsu saying that she found another reason was truly the symbol that there was more to life than just revenge, and it was no longer a main focus in her life. But now it was time to finish the story, like Cody Rhodes. Whoa! Atsu and Saito would do so in the typical 2 to 3 round battle, which would be very difficult at times. But following the first one, Jubei would come back to help. And it should be noted as well that in this circumstance, Jubei is actually weaker due to the capture that he and Lady Oyuki were under. And he does well until Saito, well, he stabs Jubei right in the gut, leading to an eventual slowly fading death. Before that though, you finish the battle with voices and emotions running in your head like never before, and then you eventually end Lord Saito. The same way the game started, with Atsu against a tree, ended up being the way the journey ended to hunt down the Yotei Six. Atsu finishes the job, leave the hand claps, and goes over to a slowly fading Jubei. Lady Oyuki would hold Kiku for comfort, and Jubei would say Kiku before he would die. Or I guess pass away. The word die just sounds so evil. Oh gosh. Emotionally for the story, this was easily the saddest part. Not only with Jubei being gone, but also due to how everything was starting to go in life. Atsu being around for her new family, which was pretty much, Jubei, Kiku, and Lady Oyuki, made her experience character development, and one of the key factors for that character development was no longer physically here to see that. I will say I did almost tear up during this sequence because it was just so tough, man. It was tough. Was it really worth it? It was, because Saito, he was just one of those people that had to go. I said it so many times. Lord Saito is just Donald Trump in the Ezo universe. I mean, come on. Right, 1 + 1 = 2. Come on, cuz. Come on, Skip. Come on, Skip. No, Skip. In conclusion, a journey that was fueled by revenge, independence, and a bit of selfishness became about a whole lot more. Building connections, trust, and a family became the reason for Atsu, rather than just revenge. To continue the responsibility of raising her niece and seeing her grow, and to know that the threat of the Yotei Six and Nine Tails were no longer a thing, or no longer a threat in Ezo. People could live normally without being bombarded by Clan Saito soldiers, or even Nine Tails soldiers asking, "Where's the Onryo?" and then just killing innocent people. The phrase "for the living" had a whole lot more of a meaning now, and for Atsu, it would become family. And that would be the story of Ghost of Yotei. Now for the personal thoughts section, there is something I do want to talk about for a bit. Now I will say I really enjoyed the story, and again, people may say, well, it's boring because, well, actually, insert game already had the revenge story, so it's not really standoutish, but it doesn't really matter, okay? You know, people love to complain about everything nowadays. Like you think about the NBA All-Star game that just happened. There are people that were complaining for like a week, talking about the format sucks, this sucks, blah blah blah, and they're not even gonna care about it in another year. So people always complain about shit, man. But I'll take what I got served on this little plate for $69.99 US. Now, could there have been more sides with the meal, or just a little bit more mac and cheese and greens to join the barbecue ribs in the plate? Absolutely. Could there have been a Diet Dr. Pepper instead of a what do you want to say, Dr. Shasta or whatever random brand you could think of? Yes, that could have been better, but I'll take what I was given, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But seeing Atsu's character development go from self-dependent, quiet at most times and seeking revenge, to eventually having a circle of people around her, to help with this chase, it made her move for a better reason, and it became more so for the living than it did revenge, although the revenge was still there, but it wasn't prioritized. However, there was one other thing we need to circle back to before we get to the miscellaneous section of the video, and then we'll get out of here. Side missions. Woo! Buddy, if you buy this game, you need to know that ahead of time, there are a lot of side missions, and my words won't even do justice. There were way too many side missions in this game. It got to a point where it probably could have been its own game or some sort of DLC, like two sides of a Michael Jackson CD or album, CD album. Well, we're not in the, people still have CDs. We'll just say album. Two sides of a Michael Jackson album. I didn't even get to finish most of them because of not wanting the videos to be uploaded so far apart, day-to-day wise. Also, playing Mafia the Old Country when I started Ghost of Yotei, we're never overlapping games ever again. Never. Some of the side missions were pretty cool though, like the Heart of an Ainu, and you would learn about the Kamui, which is actually a real thing that people, I guess could they kind of live by and also believe in Japan, which I thought that was really cool to see in the game. But ultimately, there were probably other side missions like bounties that would take away from the actual main story and the time that could have went towards it. The questions like, why does Saito hate the spider? What did he do to him? Why did he put why did he put dirt in the mouthwash? Why did he spit in it, right? What happened to Jubei's wife, aka Kiku's mom? Like, what happened to that? We didn't see about any of that. Now, I am guessing some of the things can be found out through side missions, right? Probably. But at that point, just put it in the story, right? You know, most of the info I found out about the snake was on the wiki for the Ghost franchise, which is insane to think about. That was definitely my least favorite part. But some of the side quests did grant cool gear for Atsu. Obviously, I love the crimson kimono fit. I thought that was really cool. And other upgrades as well. So sometimes, you know, with the plate that we had with our barbecue and our ribs, well, the barbecue ribs, I guess I should say, and our mac and cheese and all that stuff that we talked about, the greens, it did come with 2 cups of coleslaw. And I don't really care for coleslaw, but I'll take the coleslaw. It's going to be the first thing out of here, and we're going to just take the meal that we were given. Now, for the final sequence of this summary, there is only, well, really one other thing, and it is not actually related to the game itself. Now, I know this part won't really happen because we're in the digital age, so this is kind of my hashtag, Delulu. Delulu is the Salulu. I will say that there should have been physical versions of the map of Ezo and the manual guide for Ezo included with the game. You know, like all of the post-2000 Grand Theft Auto games, which is not including the trilogy from 2021. Most of them, obviously GTA 5 as well, and I'll leave pictures as well in the video. They all came with interactive physical maps. And I think that kind of stuff is cool for the physical media buyers like myself. And it serves as something that is really cool to look back on in the future. That's something that a digital game will never give you. I personally think that it's pretty lame to leave that stuff unincluded for the physical owners. Having to look online just feels so habitual now. It just feels so boring after a while. Like, with the images that you're going to see with GTA stuff, like, it's just so cool to be able to look at that. Like, Vice City and 3 are right here as I'm recording. I can open those game cases right now and look at previews of stuff that's going to be on the way for 2003. The first Midnight Club, freaking all that other stuff that's in there, the instruction manual, the map of Vice City. That stuff is really cool, and I think that's a trend we truly do need to see come back, or at least provide a printable map online for people that want to have it physically with the game, because games, they're just so empty now because everything is just on the internet. You want to look up things about the story, go look online. You want to look how to control such and such, you could look in the settings, or you could go online. It's just very corny, and I just hope a lot of video games just start including stuff with the game again, and I hope that GTA 6 can start that trend back up as one of the key things of the 2000s that I want to see come back with video games, especially after GTA 6 drops in November later this year. We need physical shit back in the game. Put the manuals, put the shit back. Stop being woke. Liberal. But anyways, that's gonna do it for today's video. Let me move this MacBook a little bit. The summary of Ghost of Yotei. I'm not gonna do the extra stuff I said I was gonna. I'm honestly just ready to move on to 3 other videos that I want to do before we kind of slow down on content. I did mention that I would kind of chill for a little bit. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, you already know what to do. Be sure to what the hell's on my arm? What? I don't know what that was. Be sure to make it rain on the like button and subscribe. And if you do subscribe, be sure to hit the little notification bell that's next to my name and click all notifications so you don't miss a video when I upload on the channel. You can follow me on my social media pages on Twitter/X, Blue Sky, and Instagram, and stay tuned to the community tab for all updates. That's it for Ghost of Yotei. Salute to you if you watched the plays, or I can't even talk. If you watched the Let's Play, I'm going to bed, bro. Stay tuned for Pragmata's demo and Darwin's Paradox and all that good stuff. See y'all in the next video. Bye. Peace. It'll go. And just as a little reminder as well, with Discord already doing this, you can go on Google Images and see what it would look like with restrictions once they kick in a few weeks.